Crusades, Myths and Facts. The Crusades, one of the most controversial chapters in Christian history. People say they were brutal, fueled by dark motives, and prove that religion is the root of violence. But is that really the whole story? Or are there facts that often get distorted? What were the Crusades? Between the 11th and 13th centuries, a series of military campaigns took place known as the Crusades. Their purpose? To recover the Holy Land, especially Jerusalem, from Muslim control and to protect Christian pilgrims traveling to sacred sites. Important to note, this wasn't an aggressive war against ordinary Muslims. The core motivation was defensive, to stop the killing of pilgrims and preserve access to holy places. Myth 1. The Crusades were Christianity versus Islam. A common myth says the Crusades were simply Christian aggression against Islam. But the truth is more nuanced. At the time, Jerusalem was seen as the spiritual heart of the faith, and that heart was under threat. Christian monasteries were attacked, pilgrims were killed. Pope Urban II called for military action, not for conquest, but to reopen access and defend fellow believers. Myth 2. The Crusades were barbaric and cruel. Yes, there was bloodshed, battles, massacres, undeniable horrors. But we also find stories of compassion, monks caring for people of all faiths, civilians being protected, hospitals built in war zones, and the creation of rules of engagement that were surprisingly humane for their time. Compared to other medieval wars, many actions during the Crusades were more morally restrained. Myth 3. The Crusades were all about power and politics. Of course, politics played a part. Rulers saw opportunity. But at its core, the Crusades were religious. Knights left behind wealth, sold property, and joined the fight not to loot, but out of a deep spiritual conviction. This wasn't about building an empire. It was a spiritual response to threats against a religious community and sacred legacy. The surprising reality: mercy in the midst of war. Some Crusader leaders established ethical codes, protecting women, children, and clergy. Cities like Acre and Jerusalem were sometimes surrendered under terms that spared civilians. Christian and Muslim hospitals continued to serve both sides, proof that religious institutions could show justice even in war. Even in conflict, compassion was possible, sometimes even toward the enemy. Christian teaching versus Christian behavior. We must distinguish between what the Bible teaches and how Christians behave. Scripture teaches love, peace, and the value of every person made in God's image. But Christians, like all people, can fall into sin. Political motives, pride, and violence distort the heart of true faith. The Crusades reflect human failure, not the failure of the gospel. What can we learn today? The Crusades remind us that believers don't always live out their faith consistently. Morality must be tested against the teachings of Christ. Interfaith dialogue is more urgent than ever, to heal, understand, and move forward together. Judging the past in black and white only blinds us to what we can learn. The Crusades were dark, yes, but they offer deep lessons. To guard the value of love in every action, and to be alert to the world's temptations, even in the name of religion. What do you think is today's version of a crusade? Are there battles, spiritual, cultural, moral, that we should face with faith, not force? Let's talk about it in the comments.